His defiance and the questioning by 3 international journalists, including the BBC's Jeremy Bowen, has fuelled fears of a civil war in Libya. Well, coming up now, in place of the usual hard talk, is an extended version of that interview conducted in Tripoli.
BBC?
Nice to see you, Jeremy Bowen from the BBC.
Hi, Marie Calvin. We've met before. Nice to see you.
This is a very nice spot here. This restaurant is excellent.
And you're in Tripoli?
Yeah. Yes. Mr. Gaddafi, thanks very much for seeing us. It's nearly 7 o'clock in the evening here in Tripoli, and you're in your capital city, but there are large areas of this country which you don't control anymore. There are even people in towns quite near here who are part of this rising, this rebellion. What are you going to do about all of that?
What is the question?
The question is that there's a rebellion going on in this country. What can you, as leader of this country, do about it?
يعني ممكن أول مرة نقابل الصحافة هذه الأيام. الحقيقة التقدير لهذه
Maybe this is the first time I meet journalists these days. As a mark of respect for the establishment you represent, and because I was informed that you're here to tell the truth and relay facts to the whole world, I've decided to meet the press. Although I had so many requests for interviews, I prefer to address the masses. I don't like to appear on television or give interviews. For a while now, the world has been hearing about the presence of Al-Qaeda in the Muslim Maghreb. We never thought that Al-Qaeda will come to Libya one day. Suddenly, over the past few days, they took advantage of what had happened in Egypt and Tunisia, and they made their presence felt here. We live in a safe country. Our camps and centers are open to the public. But Al-Qaeda members took advantage of this relaxed atmosphere and safety. And a group of youngsters launched attacks against police stations and military barracks. In Al-Baida and Benghazi. They stole weapons and started killing policemen and soldiers.
So, Mr. Gaddafi, you're saying then that they're motivated by extreme jihadist fervour, these demonstrators, Al-Qaeda people. I have to say the ones that I've met haven't been like that.
Yes, I understand what you're saying. I'm just explaining to you what had happened. These people have been drugged. They are on hallucinogenic drugs. The soldiers were trying to defend themselves. The other side killed fewer people than the terrorists did. But orders were then given not to open fire, and positions should be evacuated so that not to come under more attacks. These people captured the positions that we had evacuated. They attacked ammunition depots. And they took to the streets. They used mosques as headquarters and set up emirates under Al-Qaeda control.
Colonel Gaddafi, the President of the United States, the leaders of Britain and other leaders are calling on you to step down, to leave Libya, to leave your position of power. Will you do that?
Stand down from what post? What position? I don't have any position. I don't lead Libya. Libya does not have a leader or president or king. Libya is a state of the masses. Power belongs to the people's congresses and committees. Since 1977, I haven't had any power.
Will you leave Libya?
How can one leave one's country? Why should I leave my country?
ليش نتركها؟ Why do I leave my homeland?
They say that they've done it because you have ordered force against your people, shooting of protesters.
This is a lie, 100%. News agencies are not fact-finding missions. Has Security Council members come here? Have they seen young people with arms terrorizing people in the street?
هل مجلس الأمن جاي لليبيا؟ هل تقص الحقائق على الأرض؟
Have there any security? Have they seen young people with rifles terrorizing residents and people in the street? They've listened to jihadi radios in Derna and Baida. And have you met those who call themselves leaders, religious leaders, or emirs? Have you met the people, the Guantanamo inmates who are now in that part of the world? Have you met them? Have you seen them? Has the Security Council seen them? Has the United Nations sent a fact-finding mission or people to meet them?
In recent years, you've had a rapprochement with Western countries. You've had important Western leaders like Tony Blair coming here. But now there are Western leaders who are queuing up to say that you should go. Do you feel a sense of betrayal about that?
Of course this is betrayal. It's immoral. How can I step down? What from? I have no post to step down from. I'm not a president of a republic. I'm not a prime minister. I'm not a king with prerogatives.
But you make it to the UN and you're identified very much with Libya, even if you don't have a formal title.
These are honorary, nothing to do with power. Who is responsible in Great Britain, the Queen or David Cameron?
Well, we have a head of state who's the Queen, and we have a Prime Minister who's elected, who's Mr. Cameron. Are you thinking then of having an election here for Prime Minister?
Actually, you don't understand the system in Libya at all. You don't understand the system. What is termed as a prime minister in Libya is decided by the General People's Congress, which is formed by People's Congresses and committees. It can change what you call. They can change people 100 times a day.
I understand the system that you have here, but internationally you're regarded as the leader.
Don't say I understand. You don't understand. And the world don't understand the system here, the biblical system here, the authority of the people. You don't understand it.
But how do the people show their authority then? Because some who've gone out onto the streets to protest say that your people have shot at them.
No demonstration at all in the streets.
Have you seen any demonstrations? Any protests?
Yes, I have, yes.
Where?
I saw some today. I saw some in Zawiya. Yesterday I saw demonstrations.
Are they supporting us?
No, they're not supporting
They
us.
are not against us.
Some were against you and some were for you.
No, no one against us. Against me for what? Because I am not president. They love me, all my people with me. They love me all.
But if they do love
They will die to protect me, my people.
if you
Some
say they do love you, then why are they capturing Benghazi and they say they're against you there? Why are they...
It is a guide. It is a guide. It is a guide, not my people. It is a guide. Guide, yeah. They came from outside.
So they're the people pulling down the posters and putting up the flag of the king?
I would like to explain this point. Al-Qaeda is the one who started the killing and confiscation of arms, and it is now terrorizing people in Benghazi. These people have no demands. They don't take part in protests at all, be it in Afghanistan, Libya or Algeria. They don't take part in demonstrations. Those people who took to the street are young people. They have nothing to do with Al-Qaeda. And now they're handing over their weapons, they're selling the weapons and laying down the arms. And they've started to recover from the drug they were given. The youth who have no arms, they don't even know what Al-Qaeda means. However, the leaders of Al-Qaeda who are inside the mosques and who have appointed themselves as emirs, I would like you to go and see them. Some of them used to be Guantanamo inmates. There is another issue, or kind of people who have nothing to do with Al-Qaeda. Inmates, some are wanted by the justice, petty criminals. And some people who killed their children during terrorist attacks. And someone who got some kind of vengeance against others. People are fleeing outside their homes. Yeah, we know this category of people. They have already ridden the wave, and they have they fly in the flag, and they claim that they have demands, and they might announce peaceful demonstrations, and nobody can prevent them from organizing peaceful demonstrations. However, Al-Qaeda do not recognize these people. It's like the Minister of Justice that you've just talked about. He requested, he asked for their help, but Al-Qaeda don't recognize him. They told him that you are an infidel.
The international community is concerned about stockpiles of mustard gas or other kind of chemical weapons. Would you ever use those?
First of all, I mean, this issue, we finished with it a long time ago. With Britain and the United States, it's all behind us. Is it logical that someone would use chemical weapons even against his enemy? Even against those people, no one can use these chemical weapons.
People are also concerned that you will somehow sabotage or attack the oil installations. Would you do that?
It's them who are trying to do such thing. The terrorists are trying this. They go by cars at night, 4x4, and they open fire against oil fields, against companies. They go to the desert.
Do you have day-to-day control of the armed forces? Do you give the orders in this country?
First of all, there is no army in Libya. We have an armed people.
The men in uniform who carry guns in this country, do you give them orders?
The security issue is administered by People's Committee. The armed people is administered by the defense sector. The People's Committee for National Security oversees the security issue and oversees the armed people.
What I'm trying to say is, have you been giving them orders in terms of how they deal with the situation in Benghazi or deal with the situation in and around Tripoli?
The only order that has been issued in Libya is not to use force at all.
But force has been used. Force has been used.
And this is why we have warned them against using arms, because they know there are orders not to use arms and force. And this has encouraged them.
Colonel Gaddafi, how do you end this crisis? A large part of the country is under the control of insurgents, rebels. There's a great deal of foreign pressure coming in on you. How does all this end?
Foreign pressures, we're not concerned about that.
What about the fact you've lost control of a lot of the country?
My people is with me.
About our people and my people are with me.
And we are confident of ourselves, we're sure of ourselves. We will prevail, and it is them who will go.
You know, Colonel Gaddafi, I'm struck that you keep saying my people are with me, and that you keep saying the other towns have fallen to terrorists and other people. Do you feel that perhaps your people are not with you? That actually they might not want you?
قلنا أنا مندهشة من دائما تكرر أن الشعب معي وأن المدن الثانية والقرى الثانية تحت السيطرة الأجنبية. هل تشعر فعلا حقيقة أن الشعب معك؟
فيه المجموعات المسلحة في بنغازي.
The armed groups in Benghazi have terrorized Benghazi.
والناس يتصلوا بالهواتف وشوفوا اتصالاتهم بالإذاعة الليبية.
And people have been phoning Libyan television and radio and explain the situation there.
درنا أو البيضاء مدينتين.
In Derna, in the cities of Derna and Baida, there are small groups that are terrorizing the residents over there.
بقية ليبيا عدوا شوفوها ليبيا.
As for the rest of Libya, please go alone.
امشي خارج.
Have a look for yourself. Go outside Tripoli. Go outside Benghazi or Al Baida. Go to the Green Mountain.
امشي شوف الجنوب شوف الواحات.
Go and have a look at the oases in the south.
شوف أي مكان حول طرابلس أي.
Anywhere around Tripoli, any town or city around Tripoli.
أنا مستعد نمشي لأي مدينة.
I am prepared to go anywhere in Libya and travel there.
If there aren't demonstrations against you, then how would you describe those events in the streets that have been happening, where they tear down pictures and they explain they express their anger?
Al-Qaida is one thing, and children who have been drugged and have been duped to do things, and the Libyan people is another thing. I am amazed how the United States and the whole world, who have been in alliance with us against Al-Qaida, and when we start fighting Al-Qaida, they impose such sanction against us.
Colonel Gaddafi, I think we've asked all the questions we need to ask this evening. I'd just like to thank you very much for talking to us.
Yeah, thank you.
شكرا على الحديث. شكرا.